Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead and some really interesting news we got from Scott M. Gimple about potential spin-offs in the future. And I want to go ahead and read what he said and talk about it, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about certain characters that we might see a spin-off for, and certain things on The Walking Dead that we might see, like movies, spin-offs, limited series, all that kind of stuff. And then you guys in the comments down below can let me know which character and which format, do you want to see, or do you think which character would work with which format? So you guys let me know in the comments down below. But before we get into the actual characters, let's go ahead and read what Scott M. Gimple said here. So I want to go ahead and read this tweet first, and then we're going to talk about exactly what Gimple said. But this is a tweet from The Walking Dead's official Twitter account that said, Scott Gimple teases they're looking into making limited single character spin-offs, not a whole show, that would focus on the onset of the apocalypse. Who would you guys want to see? Alright, so a couple interesting things there. The first one is not a whole show. So this isn't going to be like The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead or even The World Beyond. I mean, The World Beyond is I don't even think it would be as big as The World Beyond. Even though that is a limited show, it's still a show. So this is obviously going to be like, a very limited series in terms of maybe like 5-6 episodes, or it's gonna be very short episodes, or it's gonna be web series or a movie, stuff like that. I definitely think a movie is a good one, because a movie would essentially be like 2 hours, which is 2 Walking Dead episodes, right? Like, we're calling The World Beyond a limited show, but that's gonna be 20 hours of stuff there, right? Like probably an hour for each episode, and there's 2 seasons, 10 episodes each, I'm assuming. So that's, even though that's a limited series, it's 20 hours already of Walking Dead stuff. So I wouldn't even call that, I wouldn't call that like a spin-off. I mean, I guess it is a spin-off, but when they say not a whole show, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty small compared to those 3 big shows. The other one is the onset of the apocalypse. So this is going to be happening pretty early on into the apocalypse, which is pretty exciting, because I always think that could work really well, because I know like the first, I think there's something really cool about the first season of The Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking Dead. It's really interesting to see characters dealing with the zombie apocalypse for the first time. I think there's something really interesting about that, which is why I'm pretty excited to see it on The World Beyond. And I know there's always discussion about, like, what if you followed some other character from the beginning of the apocalypse instead of Rick? And now this is a chance for us to actually do that, which I think would be pretty cool. So this is what Gimple had to say about it during the virtual Comic-Con. He said, I will say we're looking on things where we are looking at past characters. Maybe not a whole series, but we're looking at things where we can take a peek at. Maybe not pre-apocalypse, but early in the apocalypse. We're looking at folks, so get excited for that. Alright, so this is really awesome, and I think if they're going to say it at Comic-Con, like, this is like, I know this year's Comic-Con was different. It was a virtual Comic-Con. But I don't think, and he said this in the past as well, so I know, things, shows, movies, all that kind of stuff get announced sometimes and then it never happens. That's totally, that happens sometimes, but I feel like with this, if they are mentioning it multiple times now, and especially at Comic-Con, I think we might be able to see something like this really happen. And remember, we already have seen something like this sort of already happen. Do you guys remember the Red Machete? They have done stuff like that before. There's web series like the Flight 462, and the Red Machete was a really interesting one. I really liked that one, because that was literally like during the commercials. It was like basically a little like in between commercials, they would show this I think it was like every single episode of The Walking Dead that season. We would get like a red machete, just it'll be like a minute or two during the commercials, and at the end we saw that character return. I forgot his name, but he was part of the group. He was the guy that Rick bit his throat out, that guy. He showed up at the end and took the red machete. So they've already sort of done stuff like that, and I think that's what they're referring to. Like when we read this, I know sometimes you might think movies and other TV shows, but it doesn't have to be that big scope, and it probably isn't going to be like, I mean, some of them will, and I think we'll talk about that in a minute when we get to the character list that I have about potential spin-offs. But not everything has to be this big scope or anything like that. Rick Grimes is getting a trilogy, but some other minor character might not. He or she might just get like a Red Machete type thing. So we'll see what happens with that. But there's all sorts of platforms nowadays. You got the internet. They can do something on YouTube. They got the commercial breaks. They got social media. So I mean, they got Netflix. I mean, they could do that. That's definitely a potential. They have a deal with Netflix because every single year The Walking Dead airs on Netflix. Also Hulu for Fear the Walking Dead. They could do something on Hulu, like a mini series. I think Netflix would be a good one. Breaking Bad just partnered with Netflix and made a movie. So, with all the platforms that are available today, anything is really possible. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, what kind of things would you like to see. We're going to go ahead and get into the characters list now and talk about the potential spin-offs. So there's obviously, an insane amount of Walking Dead characters, so I don't have every character listed here. I'm obviously going to miss characters who deserve a spin-off, so you guys let me know which character you think that could be in the comments down below. But my first character who I think 100% deserves a spin-off is Rick Grimes. That was a joke, obviously. Rick Grimes is getting a spin-off. That was a joke. No, but seriously, the first character who I think should get a spin-off is Negan. I think Negan and spin-off, work well together. no matter how you look at it, because they've been talking about it for so long. And not only that, Negan himself has 2 spin-offs already in the comics. One is a recent one that is Negan Lives. That it happened like at the end of the Walking Dead series, but with what Scott Gimple talking about in the early days of the apocalypse, there is a spin-off called Here's Negan, which talks about his life before the apocalypse, and I think that could work really well. And we're gonna go ahead and get into formats as well, so for each character I'll say which format I think could work best, and then you guys in the comments down below can let me know which one you think will work best. But for Negan, I'm gonna go ahead and say probably a movie I think would work best. A movie or a limited series, but a longer one. Like I would say like a couple episodes, not just like a mini series. For Negan and that story, for the Here's Negan, I would like to see a movie. I think a movie would work really well. You guys let me know what you think. Next, we got Michonne. Now, Michonne is a tricky one because she might just show up in the Rick Grimes movies, but I just wanted to include her in this because I think seeing her journey would be awesome, and she probably is gonna get a movie. So I just quickly wanted to go over that one just to mention her, but I definitely think she will get some sort of spin-off, whether that's in the Rick Grimes movie or on her own. It's probably gonna be like a movie. Alright, next we got Abraham. Now Abraham I think is a good one for a spin-off because I mean we already learned a little bit about his past and his wife and his kids and how he met Eugene, but that was in the early days of the apocalypse. That was just like in his final moments with his family. And Abraham is a really interesting character. I think very good character who can who has a good on-screen presence. And this is a tricky one. I think if they really want to flesh it out, they could do like a mini series on him, like a couple episodes or something. But I think what would work best for Abraham is sort of like a Red Machete type thing, like a web series, I would say. Maybe not even like a commercial thing. I feel like the commercial thing would be, I feel like it would be movie, limited series, web series, and then like the in between commercials. That's the way I'm sort of looking at it. But I think a web series would be really cool. Like imagine if they do like maybe like 15 episode things, and that could be on TV too, don't get me wrong. Like they could do like maybe 15-minute episodes of Abraham. But again, if they really want to flesh it out, they can definitely go for that full episode. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. I also wrote down Alpha and Beta just because I wanted to talk about it, but we have already learned so much about them in the beginning that I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, I just wrote them down because I wanted to discuss it with you guys. What do you guys think about that? Would you want to see more Alpha and Beta and Whisper stuff? I think it'd be pretty cool to see the Whispers forming. That would be really cool, but we already had a lot of Alpha and Beta, so I'm not too sure about that one. You guys let me know what you think. Next, I have written down Althea because I think it'll be pretty cool to see what Althea was doing early on in the apocalypse. especially with her journalism thing where she's interviewing people. And I know there's rumors that she probably met like Abraham and Eugene. I don't even know if those are rumors. I think it's actually true because of the initials or something. But I think it'll be really cool to see Althea's interviews and that kind of stuff and what she was doing when the I mean, we already know what she was doing, but actually like seeing it on the screen in the interviews, I think would be pretty cool. And lastly, I have written down the Commonwealth, which is an interesting and funny one because we haven't even seen the Commonwealth just yet. But if they want to do spin-offs about the early days of the apocalypse and certain characters, I think it'd be pretty cool to see how the Commonwealth got formed, right? I don't know if we're going to see that on the World No, we aren't going to really see that on the World Beyond because I think the World Beyond is different. I think it's a CRM. I think the Commonwealth will be different. And there's still a really, big and powerful group. So regardless, I think it'll be really cool to see how they formed. I know we haven't even seen them on the show yet, but I think if they're exploring these options, it would be pretty cool to see something like the Commonwealth. And again, we haven't seen the scope of them just yet. But with something with the Commonwealth, I mean, that could be like a movie, it's really big. Or, I mean, it just really depends on the scope of how much they want to show. It might just be, they could do it either. If they want to go really all out with it, they could do like a movie, or they could just do a simple mini limited series or something like that. But I think it will be really cool to see the Commonwealth and how they form. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this. And let me know in the comments down below what kind of spin-offs would you like to see for The Walking Dead. But as far as this video goes, I am gonna wrap it up there. I wanted to share this information with you guys from Scott M. Gimple because it does look like The Walking Dead is going to become more of a franchise. Well, we already know they're becoming more of a franchise with AMC, but because of that, it looks like they're doing more spin-offs and all that kind of stuff. So quickly wanted to share my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. But like I said, I am going to wrap it up there. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. For more Walking Dead videos just like this, be sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.